Hi guys, it's Sam from Creatively Sam's, and today I'm making an Easter tree. This actually started out as some branches from my lilac tree and a tomato can. So if you want to see how I did this, stay tuned. It's coming up next. The weather's actually been nice enough where I could cut some branches off of my lilac tree. Boy, I got tons that need pruned. And I got out the Krylon Satin Bright White. And this is one coat. And it needs another coat in some places. So I'm doing a few of the branches. And I'll decide which ones I want to use later, because it may rain tomorrow. So I'm going to try and get as much done as I can. Well, I have an empty tomato can. And I think I'm going to give this a nice shot of white paint after I get the rest of this paper off. Probably going to need 2 coats. But instead of this ending up in the landfill, I'm playing with it. Okay, that's 1 coat of paint on the can. And I'm going to let this dry. And I got the rim on the inside of it painted. And once this dries, I'm going to turn it upside down and give it a complete coat, because I'm always afraid of cans rusting. So once I get the underside coated with the Krylon, it should be rust-free. Okay, all the branches are nice and white, and the can's all done. So I'm just playing with the branches to see which ones I like the best. And I'm going to go with these. Since my theme for Easter is purple, I'm going to use this Krylon. It's indoor-outdoor. It's good for metal, wood, and more. And it's called Gumdrop. And the only thing I could find in this color was gloss. But I don't think that's going to hurt it. So I'm going to give these branches a couple coats of the Gumdrop, and then we'll get started. I think this is going to use just 1 coat. I can't believe how well it's already covered. So I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to turn it over, give it another coat, and we'll see how it goes. But I think 1 coat's going to be just fine. Okay, the can's all painted, and so's the bottom, so I don't have to worry about the rust. And I'm still trying to use up things that I've had sitting in my craft stash for years. So I have this macrame cord, and I'm going to hot glue it. I'm going to start at the seam. And I'm just going to spot glue this all the way around until it's covered. Okay, I got this glued all the way around, and I did more than spot glue this. It kept sliding. So I basically just kept putting glue on it. Until I got it to hold all the way. Add a little bit of glue to the end because it does fray. And it was either going to be this macrame cord or some really thick fluffy yarn that I had. But this stuff's older, so I'm using this. It's definitely a different look. I like that a whole lot better than a flower pot or a bucket. I did add another row to the top because I didn't like seeing the ledge, but I still have some left. So much for using up all my old supplies. Guess I'll have to make a plant hanger or something. Okay, now that the can is all done and the twigs are all painted, I'm just going to arrange these together so that they're kind of even on the top. And then I'm going to use some wire and wire these together. Okay, I got the wire on the bottom so that they don't shift too much. And I am leaving these smaller pieces on. And this is an anchor. And you'll see why next. Okay, I've got some plaster of Paris here. And some water. Measuring cup. And some plastic utensils to mix it up. And this says, add 2 parts of DAP plaster of Paris to 1 part of water. So I'm going to be doing 2 cups of the plaster of Paris, and then I'm going to mix in a cup of water. And I'm going to mix this until it's smooth. And you can feel when it's on the bottom and still needs mixed. I'm going to get a spoon to make sure it's all up in the corners. And then I'm going to carefully pour this into the can. Wow. That still has a lot to go, so I'm going to repeat this with 2 more cups. Okay, the 4 cups seem to be just fine. And what I'm going to do is tap this gently, and it gets the water or air bubbles up. And then I'm going to use something to, glue sticks will work just fine. Try and keep this in the center. And I'm going to check this every about 15 minutes because it starts to harden at the bottom first. A couple air bubbles I'm breaking with a toothpick. When you, after you use this, make sure you wipe it out with a paper towel. You do not want this to go down your drain. Better get that a little closer. Okay, and I'm going to let that dry. And this is probably going to take overnight. Like I said, I'm going to be in here checking it every 15 minutes until it starts to hold. And if it needs pushed over a little bit to make sure it's in the center, then that's what I'll do. But so far it looks like it's holding well. And we'll be back when it's dry. Okay, this has been sitting for a couple hours and it's in there. And of course the top is still just a little wet, but it's pretty much solid. So I'm going to let this sit the rest of the night, and tomorrow morning we'll see if it's all nice and dry. The reason that I use the plaster of Paris is because it's heavy, and it's going to weigh this down, so I don't have to worry about, once I play with the branches, it won't tip over. And this will last forever. I've done this before and I still have it after at least 5 years. So, there she sits. And we'll be back tomorrow. Okay, it's all dry. And it actually could be done as is right now. Just add a little moss or Easter grass to the bottom and hang your eggs on it. I'm going to add this foil shred. I couldn't find anything that I liked with the Easter stuff, and I found this in the party section. So I'm just going to put a little bit around the bottom, just to cover that plaster of Paris. And I'm not even going to bother gluing it in. I'm going to give it a little bit of a haircut. But I don't want to take too much off because I always like it when it's got movement. Okay, now you could stop there if you want. But you guys know me, I cannot leave well enough alone. Okay, I recently got all these flowers from the Dollar Tree, and you can see they're very tiny. And I did this years ago on a wired tree. It was just a plain white wired tree. And I keep bumping you, I'm sorry. Every time I pull it out, I smile. And all I did was take some of these little flowers and cut them off. And I'm leaving enough stem on there so that the flowers don't fall off. And then I'm just going to hot glue them. Onto the ends of some of these branches. And I'm going to mix the colors up here and there. It's really, this is kind of tall, so it's really kind of hard to get in on the camera. But I'm just going to take these colors and spread them through. And I'll be back when I'm done with that. I got these little hop bushes because I couldn't find pink. And unfortunately, once you cut one, they all seem to come apart. So you have it all twisted up. A little bit of glue. And then I'm just going to push that right in the center and hold it for a second or two until it dries. And now it can be put on the tray. Wherever you like. And I'm just going to hold that for a second. going to finish up the pink and do some blue. Okay, and there it is with the flowers on it. And you can definitely leave this just like this, and it really makes a nice centerpiece. And of course, you don't have to make it as tall as I did. This thing's almost 2 foot tall. But you can add little eggs to it now. And really make it look Easter-like. Okay, there it is all done. And I'm going to get a shot of this on the table so you can see how big it is. Okay, there it is on the table. And I played around with the eggs a little just to separate the colors out a little better. But I really wish I had another pack of them. But there's my Easter tree. And you can add bunnies to this. You can add little chicks, nests, whatever says Easter to you. If you like what you saw, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and happy creating, everyone.